Apparently my microphone is muted. That was a great start. Hello and welcome to day 2 of GatherVerse Africa Tech for Humanity Summit. And I'm very excited about this fireside chat today because we've got the lovely Christina to this side of me. And we're going to be speaking about in this fireside chat the talent gap with skills and systems and the urgency to prepare Africa's workforce for the future. So Christina, please tell us who you are.
Hi, I am so excited to be here today. I am Christina Lott. I am a strategic learning and development leader in Texas, and I'm the founder of Life with CGL, which is all about creating, growing, and living our most authentic self, and also how we're creating a better world than the one we were brought into. So, this is truly a passion of mine to kind of pass along knowledge, help people when I can, and also really try and shorten that gap that we're seeing in the workforce.
Yeah, there is a massive gap, and it's great to have you also with us today for our summit. I really want to dive straight in, Christina. I like to get to the roots straight away, right? Get to the nitty gritty, as I say. So we'll start with the first question, which is, where do you see the biggest cracks in the current global talent pipeline? Like, where are the biggest gaps right now from what you see?
I would say the biggest gap is really skill set versus traditional degrees in education. I think that our current workforce is still putting a lot of emphasis on masters and bachelors and things that I feel like are a little outdated considering what the cost of living is and what student loans look like and all of that, depending on where you live. And we're kind of setting up our students for failure right out the gate by telling them that this is the only way you're going to be successful. This is the only way you're going to get that high paying job. And then they come out into the workforce and the salaries that they're being offered aren't necessarily like matching the dream that they were sold on.
Right.
And I think that we have to, education is so important, but also let's focus on those skills. And also, are we hiring for more competency based or just what we see on paper? So that's one of the biggest gaps that I'm seeing. Like, what is our training need versus what the demand for the industries are? I don't necessarily think we have a talent shortage. I think we have an alignment and inclusion shortage.
I see. So I guess that maybe let's jump into the AI side of things, because the previous roundtable was speaking about AI. When it comes to AI education and AI gaps, are you seeing as this one of the biggest things that's going on right now when it comes to talents and gaps and everything when it comes to that side of stuff?
Absolutely. I think that AI is something that is so new in a lot of industries, and anything that's new is obviously scary. But I always say you have to educate yourself on the unknown. So AI is here. It's not going anywhere. So you have to get more comfortable with it. Something that we've been pushing our teams to do is like dive into how AI can make what we're doing more productive. How can we show that success with our KPIs? How can we show that we can be more productive? But also, how can we eliminate the fear that people have behind AI replacing their jobs, which is a very real fear. And that is contributing to a lot of people's like suspicion around AI. But I think if we embrace it in a way that's more inclusive and not as something that's replacing a certain department or role, then I think that there's a lot of education and a lot of good things behind AI.
Honestly, it makes me think like, the potential for AI and the talent out there and, like the current workforce that's being laid off right now. And, not just across, the US and everything like that, but also across Africa and that too. And also the UK and EU. I want to ask another question around the Africa continent. Is Africa facing a skills gap, or is it an opportunity gap?
I would say both.
Okay.
I think that Africa is experiencing both. I think that there hasn't been as much of a presence for AI as we've seen in maybe other countries. But I
Okay.
think that Africa doesn't just have like a skills gap. I think there's a coordination gap between its talent and the opportunity that people are exposed to in Africa. I think
Hmm.
there needs to be more exposure. I think that companies need to take more of a risk on branching outside of the top countries that they usually go to for talent. And I think that, to be fair, there needs to be more money invested in Africa's education and skill set. The youth of Africa is kind of, I think they're the future, and we should really be investing more time
Mm.
and resources into helping them educate themselves on AI to give them a leg ahead to get those careers and to advance the way that they would like to advance. So I think that it's really just putting the resources in the right place to create those opportunities for the youth of Africa.
So I guess my next question would be then, how do we bridge that gap? How do we bridge the mismatch between like AI and, you know, the opportunities, right? Like, how do we bridge that gap together?
I think that there's a approach that some schools take. I can't speak to all schools in the US, but I know that here in Texas there's schools that practice the dual track program, essentially, to
Okay.
where when our high schoolers are graduating, they're graduating with an associate's already because they've been taking classes that put them ahead of the game. I think that we kind of need to attack AI the same way. I think
Okay.
that we should have kids going through courses that teach them about AI, that give them the certifications that they need while also still doing their coursework. But it's kind of a two for one. And it's also giving them those industry credentials layered into degrees and not solely focusing on education. This is giving them the competency that they need to be successful in their future careers or entrepreneurs. We don't want to tell everyone that you have to join a company to be successful. You can be
Mhm.
successful on your own. That's kind of the spirit, I think, of this generation is, how can I create something that's my own, and how can I be successful without having to report to anyone? So I think we have to be mindful of the generation that's coming up as well. Like, I grew up in a
Mm.
generation where you were told you just go to school, you work hard, and you follow this path and you'll be
Same
successful.
here. Same here.
And then I woke up one day and I was like, wait, I think I got bamboozled because this is actually not how this works. I don't feel like all the things you guys promised me are happening. So I think that I personally, when I take my approach with any new hires or anyone that I'm talking to, I like to be very realistic about the world we're in, the economy we're in, and that I don't think that you're going to join this job and be here for 20 years. That's a mindset that is outdated. I know that when you
100%.
come here, you're going to stay until you feel like it no longer serves you anymore. But as a leader, my goal is, what am I doing to leave you better than how you walked in? And I think that that's something that our generation probably needs to embody a little bit more. I think that we look at Gen Z sometimes and we're like, do you guys want to work or no? And it's not that they don't want to work, it's just that they're not feeding into the same narratives that we kind of were sold on. And they're like, no, that's not actually how it works, or I don't have to do that. And
Right.
they don't feel as obligated. Like, we're very obligated to, like, when it comes to authority and the rules, we're very much by the book. And they're helping us kind of realize that the book doesn't always work. And I think that's where AI has really shifted a lot of our mindsets, where we're like, whoa, I don't trust putting all this information into a system. But it's like, well, I mean, everyone probably already has that information anyway. AI
Let,
is
let,
going to help make this a lot faster.
I really want to jump in, Christina, because I want to put a vision by you and something past. It is on topic, of course, but when we're talking about everyone's being an individual CEO, and by the way, this is not a question on. This is
Yeah.
kind of me going off script here, but as we move forward, right, and as everyone's going to be having all these AI agents, right, as more workforce becomes AI, etc. Do you think maybe that we're going to get to the point where everyone will become their own CEO, so to speak?
Honestly, I do feel like we're getting to a point to where corporations and corporate are kind of, I don't want to say a thing of the past, but that's not the bread and butter anymore. I think that AI is showing people different ways to make income, but also
Mm,
helping them bring their business to life. I think something that we utilize in the company that I work for is Working Genius, where it helps you understand like your strengths, your weaknesses, and what your frustrations are. If one of your frustrations is wonder and invention, but you still have that entrepreneur spirit behind you, the only thing that's been holding you back is someone helping you bring that vision to life. Well, we have AI now where I can brain dump all of the things that I want to do in there. And then I now have a thought partner that's helping me bring that to life. So something that felt like it was unattainable is now attainable because I'm utilizing this service. So I think that it's kind of leveling the playing field in a way that
mm,
we weren't prepared for 10 years ago. We had no idea that this is what the workforce would look like. And also from a talent retention standpoint, we're constantly fighting against retaining good talent because they're realizing like, hey, maybe this doesn't serve me anymore, or maybe my worth is better suited here because I just dumped my thoughts into AI and they told me that I'm in the wrong industry. So I think it is helping a lot of people get to where they want to be a lot sooner than we've ever experienced in the workforce.
and we talk about AI, we talk about the opportunity, the lack of opportunities, the skills gap, or maybe not the skills gap. What is like one urgent action that you would advise African leaders to prepare in order for entering into this new world, so to speak?
Honestly, I would say job to skill maps. And I think that we need to do a better job of updating those quarterly and figuring out if the skill sets align. I think
Okay.
that we do a lot of work around like establishing what a role looks like, what a job looks like. We're not accounting for the changes in the industry and how AI is shifting that. I think that focusing in on more of skill based rather than just knowledge is
Hmm.
helpful.
Hmm.
And I also think that AI has given us the ability to figure things out a lot faster in a way. Like maybe I wouldn't have been able to figure out how to put together this spreadsheet. And that's a skill set that I was looking for in someone. But AI has removed that ability to need me to find someone that has that specific skill set because it is going to fix that gap for us without having to hire for that role. So I do think it gives us the ability to expand our teams without eliminating roles, but also it saves the company money. Or if you're an entrepreneur, it saves you money. I know a lot of people are outsourcing things like tasks that they normally would do themselves, and it's helping them be a lot more productive. So I think really learning how to outsource, that's something that I struggle with. Delegating is hard for me, but I'm learning that I can get there a lot faster
I
if I
know that
push things
feeling.
out. It's like it's a control thing. I think we struggle with, I know what I want, I know what the vision is, and if I pass it off, then I'm relinquishing control of what that vision is or what the outcome will be. But I think the control piece for us is like, hey, we gotta let go. We gotta trust the process and trust that whoever we're turning this over to can do it. Otherwise, we will all work ourselves into a grave, and that is not the goal.
I've got one last thing, because we've run out of time, or we have run out of time. So I want to just finish things off on this last thing, which is there anything that you would like to say to the audience, before we go? Is there any like last words that you'd like to say, like anything of wisdom you want to share, or anything along those sort of lines before we finish the fireside chat?
I think the most important thing that I've had to come to grips with and that I would encourage anyone to come to grips with is AI won't take your job. Someone using AI will end up taking your job. And let that someone be the youth of Africa. Let them be the future and let them set the stage for what AI can look like and how to help you thrive. I truly think that like talent is Africa's largest natural resource. It's just figuring out the coordination and how to bring that to life. But I think that, there's degrees open doors, but skills are what keep you in the room. So don't discount your skills and the charisma that you bring to the stage.
Well, Christina, it's been a pleasure having you at GatherVerse. Thank you for joining us at the GatherVerse Africa Tech for Humanity Summit today on day 2. It's been a pleasure. And everyone, make sure you do follow and connect with Christina on LinkedIn and our Gather as well. And up next, we do have a next roundtable discussion. I'll be moderating that, so I will see you very shortly.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.